your first reaction. What did you think about the finale? How did it stack up from the other finales?
I think it was a pretty good ending. I think it leaves off to at a good point that will be able to kick off into important things that happen next. I think the biggest takeaway for me was the representation of PTSD and anxiety and stuff like that we'll go into more detail later on. But I think that was one of the biggest things for me, because it pretty much happened throughout the whole episode. Like, I don't think it disappointed in showing gore. Like, while there wasn't any fighting or anything like that was going on within this episode, like, it wasn't dramatic in that way. It was dramatic in representing what Mark was going through in his head. And I know you had stuff to talk about that. That was a difference in the show and the comic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, like, this whole episode was, I mean, it was sort of a mixture of the comic and what the show was going for.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest like difference was the continuation of Mark's like PTSD or like anxiety. Just throughout, I mean, like every 2 seconds he would like see something and it would just automatically trigger how he felt about like what could happen.
Yeah.
And you know, like, it's interesting because they kind of showed a little bit of it like before, but this was the first time that it was truly realized that Mark's PTSD was maybe as bad as like it could be. And I mean, obviously what happened with Thragg in the last episode, in episode 7, it expedited that process to make him like in true fashion an anxiety monster. But you know, it's interesting because like, well, a lot of other things have happened in his life where this hasn't triggered him that badly. And I think it's just interesting that you have a whole episode dedicated to that, because, you know, going forward, I mean, that's gonna have to be talked about, you know, like in following seasons, like how it affects him and how it affects his psyche. And I mean, you know, because in the comic, not that he doesn't have, you know, mental challenges that he has to go through, it's just not as prevalent as it is in the show. And, you know, I think it's good how they went about showing this types of things. It's, you know, think about it this way, he's only like, I think he's like 20, 21. I mean, you know, he is so young and all these things have happened to him, and it's like, it's kind of scary to think about, you know, how much is really on his shoulders, and, you know, not even including the fact that I mean, he could have been a father, you know, and it's just like, that's another thing that is added to it. It's just you know, it's just a lot. Like, I think about like Nolan, how the other Viltrumites really don't get affected that much by the actions that they do. I mean, like, Nolan is now thinking about them, and he's taking that next step to, you know, maybe fix those issues that he has. But like, he's not sitting there thinking about all the people that he killed, you know, in Chicago. He's not thinking about all the Flaxons he killed during his however many months he was there. It's just it's different, you know. And Mark being human, you know, that's the biggest thing. You know, I would be interested to see, because even like Oliver, who's not really human, he's not going to be impacted the same way. But it's like, in his short time being alive, I mean, he's been almost torn in half. He was arm cut off, jaw broke. It's just a lot of bad things happened to him. And you know what? I don't think it's gonna nearly impact him as much as it impacted Mark. But yeah, I mean, I like, overall, I think that this finale was like there was a theme to this season, I would say, and it was, figuring out the consequences of actions.
Definitely.
And, like how mental states impact decision making. Forgiveness. I mean, it's been a lot of just like mental hurdles that all these characters have had to get over, because like the physical challenges, yes, like obviously Thragg and Conquest are things that are physically immovable, but even like, for Thragg, like he even had to go over like a mental challenge in multiple circumstances. I mean, now he had a conversation with Nolan that then goes away. So then he fought it, and then look what happened. Consequences of, I mean, everything that led up to this moment was a consequence of Thragg's actions anyway.
Right.
But like, his consequences of what he did literally in that moment, planet got blown up. He then decides to go to Earth. And then now he has to make the decision about, hey, should I can just destroy this planet, or I can help birth the next era of my species. And he doesn't have to tell Mark anything, but he chooses to. And we'll talk about that either later on, or in this episode, or what we're talking about right now. But it's just lots of choices and lots of decisions. But this was like, overall, I think that this season was just great. Just great. I think.
Yeah, no, it was great.
So if you like that sort of topic and you like hearing us talk about Invincible, I mean, going forward, we're going to be doing a rewatch of Invincible. So we're going to be doing, maybe not this week, but maybe that week after.
Give you a break of Invincible. We all know you're tired of Invincible.
Yeah. But we're going to be going through each one of the seasons. We're going to go episode 1, season 1, have like a discussion like we've been doing every week with Invincible here, and we'll talk about something that goes on with it. And since we're 4 seasons in now, it's going to be a lot like we get to do the 2020 hindsight.
Yeah, definitely.
And see how certain things played out. And we can talk about the such and how he would have handled it back then, sort of conversation. So tune in for that.